How's it going, everybody? Here to make a quick beginner's guide on Mortal Online 2. Release dates in like 8 days. I'm fairly new to the game. A lot of the stuff that I've been looking at is a little bit outdated and can be confusing for new players, so just wanted to run through a quick up-to-date guide on it. So making a new character, you come in here, you'll pick all your stuff. I'm going to make this guy a cleric, so I chose my appropriate things. Now, when it comes to this screen here is the first big difference between what I have here and what you're probably seeing on other things. The available attribute points, there was a lot more play with it in the beta than there is now. So it's makes it a little confusing. So depending on your class and your guide out there, you're going to make it however. Everything affects your stats: age, size, weight, your background, your lineage, I should say. So I'm gonna bring this guy up to just bulging. Um, age 60, got my size right. Cool. So this is gonna be my cleric. These are your max stats over here. These are what you're gonna spawn in as. So let's allocate these real quick so I can get these in. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I'm not going to need a whole lot of strength for this guy because this cleric is mostly magic. Um, Dex, not going to need a whole lot of that. Again, he's going to be kind of a slower, big guy healer. But these are your maxes, and I'll show you how to adjust those once you're in the game, because some of the guides you might be looking at, you're like, wow, how come so-and-so starting out with like 90 something dex, and I've got way too much into strength or something like that. And so come over here, make our character name, and so you really want to make sure that like your stats are coming out right, but it again, it's kind of off of what it has been. Maybe about 10 months ago, I want to say. A lot of the things seem to be come out from like March, it seems, of last year. Cool. So once we are in the game, let's say you make, like I noticed with my Dex Mage that I made, I had like 50 something strength. Like, all right, I'm not using really anything. I want to have like 30 strength. So when we come in here, you can, what they call, take attribute points out, lock it, and these are all pluses. So as I'm doing stuff, these 163 points that are available are going to get allocated from doing everything. Just from walking around, you're going to get stuff from chopping trees. All those things are going to give you attribute points. But let's say right now, strength, that's a max of where I want it at, 35. Cool, I can put a lock on it. So now all those 163 points are just going to these. Now let's say I get dex up to where I want it, I can lock it. Let's say strength is even too high, I'll put a negative in it. Now, once all these points are used, it'll pull points out of strength and put it into these other categories. So, and you'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. So you're going to have to lock it. You don't want to, like, if you're trying to aim exactly for a number, you want to make sure that you're paying attention as you're doing stuff. Because like I said, everything you do is getting you attribute points and leveling you up. And so, like, from there, you'll also have to pay attention to this screen here, character statistics. So I got a little bit of a cold. You have your health reserves, your mana reserves, and your stamina reserves, and these are pretty much constantly dropping. And your hunger is always going up. Now, eating food gets these stamina reserves and mana reserves and health reserves back, but also so does resting, and that'll teach you that in the game. That's super important to keep an eye on that. That comes with like making better food. If you have like a guild cook or a cook in your group, it's awesome to have somebody that's a really good cook. Or if you're a solo player, I recommend like getting your cooking up there. Your glades, these come into like your character statistics. So a lot of times, like when you're looking at these numbers on guides and stuff, it's because people already have the glade gifts like built into it. You'll see like this one has an extra 4 constitution and stuff. I will recommend, very important is to just do a little bit of research on what you want to play with, and also like don't be in a big rush to get out of like this starting zone. There's so much to do here in Haven, and you can level up so much here. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration, before you go out there in the big scary world, where you can just be murdered by everybody, because you're safe and protected here, obviously. See, like I tried to attack him. Good example right there in front of us. So let's see if we have coverage statistics, our character things. Oh, okay. Into here, we'll see gathering, woodcutting. Here are your skills, and from here, I'll cover it a little bit later too. Here's your main skills. You can have 1,100 of them. Here's your profession skills, 1,200 of these. You'll level these up, and these don't have to be maxed. Like, for instance, my animal taming, I'll probably get it to like 50 and then like hard cap it out. And you could do that same thing. These ones are obviously all very low, and you could take points out of things like that. Unfortunately, just right now I don't have any skill points. I'll show it a little bit later how to take points out of it and have it hard cap it off and stuff, so you're not wasting these 1,100 points, because it does add up quick. All of a sudden you're getting ready to leave Haven and you're like, wow, I've already gone through like 400 or 500 points, and you're like, how have I used half of my points and I'm still in the beginner zone? So everything adds up super quick, especially when you get to like reading books and things like that. So right now what I'm going to do is do a little bit of a playthrough and skip ahead, so keep this video short for you guys. Alright, thanks. Alright, so skipping forward a little bit here. Walking in this game is so slow, and try to make this video not forever long, just watching me walk around. Something that's super important is books. I already have a book. My last recording of this, the game crashed on me, so redoing this here. It is super important to get a book. So I went through, killed a few zombies real quick, got a little bit of gold. I'm going to come in here, and what's great about Haven is there's just so many book vendors here, and it's like everything. I thought this was how it was in the world. No, when you get out of the world, cities will have like 2 book vendors, and you're like, oh well, that kind of sucks, because I would have brought more books with me when I left Haven, because you can bring a few items. But the first book I get is reading. Now you can do whatever you want. If you don't want to waste points in the reading, I totally get it. Even though those points can be taken out later, but starting out reading seems to be the most important to me, because the higher your level reading, the more you're going to get from other books. And so I've played games like Eve, sorry, excuse me, where skills take a really long time. So anything you can do to really cut time off there and get those skills up is great. So books work like, let's say I am doing a cooking book, right? I can keep cooking, but I'm passively also generating the cooking skill, which is really big. And if I'm offline, guess what? That cooking skill is going up because I'm reading that cooking book. And it keeps working even though I am offline. Now, some books are super long. Like this book is not a long book. There's some books out there that are 128 hours starting out and stuff. And so it's kind of why I like Humans. You get reduced reading, basically, and then that reading skill is going to help you get more from books, because you're not going to read all books all the way through. Let's say I'm just trying to get my magic school up to like 60 or 70, because I don't want to waste those extra 30 points into it, and that's where I'm happy with it at. Well, I could read a book, and I can also keep casting a spell while I'll get it up there super quick, because that spell book, to read it costs like 10 silver, which is nothing. I will say, like I said, that once you get out in the world, book vendors aren't just everywhere with every book. So take stuff with you, and I would recommend it being gold and, to me, books. You can only take 6 items, gold being one of those items. So you can see it takes up 1 slot and 7 of, my 7 silver out of my 10 gold. So if you can get, let's say, 9 gold in here, and then some books, boom, you have now met your 10 gold limit, and you get to take those books with you that you might not be able to just run by and grab, because the world is massive. Mounts aren't hard to get. It's fairly easy. I'll put a link for a map in there, and it helps a lot. Like, it's not like the most accurate, but it gets you in the right general vicinity for mounts and stuff like that. Because walking everywhere is atrocious. But a lot of people, from playing MMOs, you get out there and you're like, oh man, mounts, I better get leveled up and stuff. It's like, no, pretty much as soon as you got a Haven, you can go find a low level horse and tame it, and boom, you got a mount. Now, getting the riding skill up there and stuff is another thing. But you'll figure all that out. It's really not that bad. Let's see, we covered books and plays. I'm gonna cut this one off, and we'll jump to the last portion. I would say that is important for Haven and newbies. So yeah. Alright, so the last portion of this video, I just wanted to go over something I think is important is the cooking. And this isn't something like you gotta stick with. You'll probably have like guild cooks and stuff like that. I know we do. And they're providing food to everybody so that people don't gotta waste points into cooking. But if you're a new player, I found this super useful. So you'll come out here eventually, after you kill some zombies and stuff, you'll come out here and you get to the point where you got to kill pigs. Before you come out here, I would grab the turnspit. So you'll kill some pigs, you'll butcher them down. You'll get all this stuff here is all cookable. Okay, so we can use all of that to raise our cooking skill. And so what happens is when you start making stuff, it's going to be inedible or vile, stuff like that. Literally, it's going to make your guy like puke. Does it give you a little bit of benefit? Yes. Is it better than like starving to death? Yes, but it's not great. And the only way to get your cooking up there, and this took me a minute, is like just to keep cooking. And this is why this is super helpful, because the pigs are right here, your cooking fire is right here, so you can literally just like Netflix it out and kill some pigs, get your cooking up. And this way, when you go into the world, you're not just choking down like the worst food possible, and you can get rid of those that exhaustion debuff, and you can have a little bit of stamina. So we'll literally cook all this stuff down. Once you get your cooking up, you can cook more than one ingredient at a time. So as it gets up there and you'll make better stuff, you'll see. To literally take all this stuff, and then I just toss it because it's worthless. And I don't know of a vendor in Haven that buys it. And I'm not walking all the way back to Haven just to make a few silver. So yeah, get your cooking up is if you're like a solo player, or if you're the cook in the group or want to be the cook in your group, I would definitely recommend like get your cooking up before you leave Haven. It's super quick, super easy. Once you get it up, then you can focus on making the pies and the things out there that are gonna give you the really good like stamina reserve stuff to help you not get that exhaustion debuff. Will note that if you are a human, this shamanistic is really amazing because you can keep resting and raising your reserves here. So no other class gets that. Everybody else is reliant purely on food and stuff. I would definitely say like my first 2 things that I get in here, I go for the scholastic and then I go right to here. I'm like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, these like combat and stuff, that's super nice, and definitely helpful, but definitely I'm like boom, boom. I want to have this stuff so I don't gotta have as much downtime. I don't have to go cook food. And it just takes, it's less downtime for me. I'm trying to eliminate downtime and maximize what I'm already doing, so that's why I'm going with this one and this one. That's why I rush those right out the gate. Play however you want. I don't want to tell you how to play a game, but that's to me how I play games. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up like our 3-part like basics of Haven, basic of like skills, things like that. I will say, coming in here, you can go through your skills. I've already got some spent here. I know I'm not going to use swords. Check it out. Here's how you remove skill levels. So you can see now I'm getting more points back, and the swords can go into. Now I can't just add them to hammers, but as I level up my hammer now, I'll have more skill points. So it's not something you really got to mess with till later on, but that is how you do that. Haven is the only place you guys will have a map, by the way. So once you get out in the real world, it literally like, I'm a gamer, and in these types of games, I'm literally constantly like tabbing between like my map and the world, and my map and like the world, and I'm like, all right, cool, where am I at? Making sure, like literally most games, I'm hitting the map button every, 30 to 45 seconds. It feels like probably way too much. You won't have a map out there, so Haven's it. You got your map of the town, you got your map of the world. Key points of interest here, I will say, is we are right about here. If you come out this way a little bit, you'll find bears. So if you want to get your taming up, you can tame bears out here. Over here's a bandit camp. If you want to make good gold, I would recommend it. Come in here with at least one other person. You can solo it, but for new players, I would say it's hard. Out in the real world, bandit camps are like a minimum 2-3 person, unless you're like a high level tamer and have like a good bear, or if you've dominated like high level creatures and stuff, then you can go clear them. But definitely recommendation is coming here with 2 people, and farming it a little bit, because each bandit head is worth like 80 silver, so you can bump that gold up real quick, so you leave here with some money. And also out here is wolves. So again, taming stuff, if you're going in that taming direction, I know a lot of people love it. So wolves over here, you got pigs you can practice on taming over here, and you have bears out here. So yeah, hope all of you found this information useful. If you have questions, feel free to hit me up on here. You've got my in-game name, hit me up in there. But yeah, have fun, guys. Look forward to seeing you guys at release.